So Luann, we've told gardeners we're going to talk about breaking rules today, and you're going to help us break rules.
Right.
Now, what exactly do you do here at Tagawa's?
I'm Tagawa's Garden Outreach Ambassador, which is kind of a long fancy name for saying that I get to take their plants and their props and their lovely things and teach classes sometimes here, sometimes out and about.
So you're going to teach us to break rules today.
You bet.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the first pots I'd like to make when we start incorporating flowers with our vegetables is maybe a planter that has to do with being sun-loving.
Right.
Because of course we still have to abide by some rules, and we have to have sun-loving plants with sun-loving plants. So what would you suggest mixing in our first pot?
We have some great color here and some great choices, but as I tell my students, you need plants that play together well. So they need to get along, need to have similar requirements: sun, shade, water, heat, all of that.
Okay.
So we have a real assortment of things today. You need to take some other things that maybe can do with a little bit of less sun.
Like some of the lettuces. And
Lettuces, I think this is pak choy. Things that don't produce a fruit or a flower. Leafy things, spinach, some lettuces can get by.
okay, so for a sunny pot, one of the first things I see is the idea of putting a tomato in
Right.
here, which is probably the most popular.
Tomatoes as container plants can be really great as long as you're kind of paying attention to what plant you're getting. This is a bush tomato, so that's a real clue that it's going to stay smaller overall. So you could absolutely plant a tomato. I wouldn't put a whole lot of heavy competitors in here with this, other things. This is going to get nice and big and bushy. And as you said before, you may plant some things in here which by the middle of summer you sacrifice them and let the tomato take over.
What items would you go ahead and throw in with this pot? I was also noticing we have some herbs here.
Most of your herbs like some full sun. We do have an issue with sometimes with the Colorado sun being so hot and so hard in that full afternoon, so maybe a little bit of afternoon protection. But you have a lot of full light plants here if you want to do tomato and a couple of herbs. This kale is going to get really big in time. He and the tomato are going to end up duking it out, so I probably wouldn't go with him.
This rosemary, that would probably work
That
well.
would be great.
That would work well on the side.
So I would probably go, you know, with something sort of evenly split like that.
But I need some color.
Compliment. You
So
do need some
We
color.
need some color.
Pansies are good initially, and you could do those up until probably about the middle of June, and then again, by the time that tomato gets big and vigorous, these are going to be ready to check out anyway. So you could easily start with some pansies, a couple of herbs, tomato in the middle.
I'm all about bigger is better, and
Yep.
I like it looking great when it's done. So even panning the
Right.
snapdragons, which I don't think most people realize are edible as well. So you can sugarcoat these, throw them on a cake, use them in ice cubes in a punch bowl. There's all sorts of ways you can incorporate these. But what's also important to remember too is, like we have this great parsley up here, if you don't have room for the tomato, even the herbs can take center stage. Now when you're maintaining this, make sure to remember that some of the same rules that apply with insecticides, you're going to want to apply them with all of these items as well, since they all are edible. Luann, thanks so much for joining us today on Dig In.
Thank you.